If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or any cheap PC games, use the referral link in the description. It will take you over to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods, and if you use the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well. Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again, and welcome to another episode of the Transfer Talk series. This is where we talk about the most recent transfers that have gone through in the world of football. And of course, in the past 24/48 hours, a couple of transfers have gone through, most notably the Nani to Valencia deal. But we can't start anywhere other than the Ibrahimovic to Manchester United deal. That went through a few days ago, and in typical Zlatan style, Ibra was the one to break the news before Manchester United even got their own official press conference out. Zlatan is bigger than any club, so it seems. Ibra announced it on his Twitter and on his Instagram, posting a picture of the Manchester United badge saying #I am coming, and he was announcing that he's moving to Manchester United from Paris Saint-Germain, although technically as a free agent because PSG released him. Now, it's been not necessarily a controversial transfer, it's a big one, and it's not necessarily controversial in the fact that nobody expected him to move to a club like Manchester United, but it's more controversial in the fact that the entire football world is split down the middle as to whether they think that it's a good move or whether they think that he'll be successful or not. Ibra has obviously been one of the best goal scorers in Europe for, a decade now, probably, to be completely honest, after spells at, he started his career at Malmo, then went to Ajax, of course, after being offered a trial at Arsenal and turning that down, saying that, and quote, Zlatan does not do auditions. Signed for Ajax the very next day, then of course went to Juventus, to Inter Milan, to Barcelona, to AC Milan, and then to Paris Saint-Germain in 2012, where he spent the last 4 years, scoring so many goals. In total, in all competitions, for PSG, Zlatan scored 156 goals in 180 games. Remarkable. Last year, he scored 50, a half-century of goals in 51 games, 38 in 31 in Ligue 1. A lot of people have been saying that they think that Ibra is too old and that he's past it, but taking into account those goal-scoring figures, last season, at the age of 34, he had his best ever goal-scoring season. Now, yes, you could argue that it is in the French divisions, so it might be slightly inflated with regards to the amount of goals that he scored, but he's been there for 4 years, and last year was his best goal-scoring year in France by a margin. 50 and 51 last year. His biggest previously was 3 years ago, 41 in 46, and then 35 in 46 the year he came, and 30 in 37 the season before last. So he scored 9 goals more last season than any other year in France, and 15 more than even his third best year in France. Ibra, in my opinion, is not quote-unquote past it. He is still one of the best goal scorers in all of Europe. Yes, he didn't have a very good Euro 2016 tournament. To be fair, Sweden didn't have a very good 2016 tournament, and I fully expect Zlatan to be scoring at least 20 goals in all competitions next season. You guys will definitely have to let me know in the comment section down below, A, what you think of the move, whether you think Manchester United was the right move and the right fit for Ibrahimovic. Presumably, Jose Mourinho's appointment had a lot of influence in getting Zlatan to go to Manchester United, as earlier on in his career he had stated that he didn't feel he needed to go to the Barclays Premier League to prove his quality, and I think he said he never would go to the Barclays Premier League, although that may have been misquoted somewhere, but he has ended up in the English leagues on a free to Manchester United. He's on around about £200,000 a week, I believe. Again, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me in the comment section down below, but I want to know what you guys think of this deal. Do you think it's a good move for Man United? Do you think it's a good move for Ibra? And how successful do you think he will be? I personally believe that it will be a great move for both Ibra and the club. And I see him scoring, maybe not 20 in the BPL, but at least 20 plus in all competitions, with domestic and obviously Europa League football as well, where arguably he'd be playing against a lower standard of side, at least in the group stage as well, to playing in the Champions League with all of his previous clubs. So I see Ibra scoring a lot of goals at Manchester United next season. He will probably be the main man up top. He's going to have Anthony Martial on the left-hand side of him, potentially Henrik Mkhitaryan on the right-hand side of him as well, if they do decide to go with a 4-3-3, and they're going to be a formidable side with Zlatan up top and Jose, the tactical genius that he is, as manager. So I think it's a great move for both personally, but you guys really will have to let me know in the comment section what you think of the deal, because it has split, like we say, the football community right down the middle. Some people think it's a great move, other people think he'll fail and that he's past it, and I want to know what you guys think down below. The next deal we'll cover is Nani to Valencia. He was rumoured to be signing potentially for Stoke City in the Premier League, and obviously Stoke have signed some great players in recent years like Shaqiri, etc. But he's decided to go, well, Valencia tweeted out on their official Twitter the picture that you can see on screen right now, and obviously welcoming Nani to the club. Now, it's supposedly a £7 million release clause in his contract that they've activated to bring him to the Spanish club. He was speaking to someone on Twitter that said, despite the fact that overall it's said that Nani had a great season, or not necessarily a great season, but a solid season at Fenerbahce. Apparently he was incredible in the opening 3 or 4 months of the season, then kind of his form deteriorated towards the end of the year, which is kind of similar to what Ramsey did a couple of seasons ago in the BPL. Was absolutely incredible up to the Christmas period, and then kind of his form wavered off throughout the rest of the season. But Nani, when he's on form, he is very good. He didn't feature too heavily for Manchester United in his final 3 years at the club, which will obviously be a disappointment to him. He was out on loan in his last year at the club at Sporting, the side where he started his career, and then went to Fenerbahce, of course, for the previous season. But it looks like he's going to be going to Valencia for £7 million. I like Nani as a player and a professional. I'm not necessarily sure he's the most he's not the most consistent of performers, and can definitely blow hot and cold and go just disappear in games and not really show the sort of level of performance every single game that we know that he has the quality to do. But when he is on song, he is an extremely good player and deadly inside the box on both feet. A very, very good signing for Valencia, IMO, and I think he'll actually do really, really well in La Liga as well, as Valencia look to strengthen after a couple of rather unfortunate seasons where they haven't necessarily performed anywhere near the level that they should. The third and final transfer that we'll look at involves my personal team that I support, Chelsea. They've recently signed Batshuayi from Marseille for £33 million. That's a big transfer fee for a player that hasn't necessarily proven himself on all fronts yet. Obviously, English sides have a lot more money than a lot of other clubs in Europe right now because of the ginormous TV deals that have been going through recently. So there is a lot of extra money to be thrown about, and a lot of selling clubs have been asking for a lot higher fees from English clubs because they know that they have the money to pay it. So £33 million is probably an exaggeration of the quality that Michy Batshuayi actually currently has, but he is only 22 and he has been scoring goals for a few years. He started his career at Standard Liège, of course, and after a year or two breaking himself into the first team, his final year at Standard Liège, he did score 21 goals in 38 league games. So, proving himself as a goal scorer in the Belgian league, which of course a certain Romelu Lukaku did at the early stages of his career, albeit a few years earlier than Michy. Then he moved to Marseille, scored about 10 goals in 28 games in his first season, and last year he scored 17 in 36 in Ligue 1 and 23 in 50 games total. So averaging about a goal every other game, which is decent, especially for someone that's 22 years of age. But again, as was the case with Ibra, it is in the French league, so it might be slightly exaggerated. No disrespect to the French top division, but it's not of the same quality as the BPL or La Liga or Serie A or the Bundesliga, etc. So I'm not sure what to expect from this deal, to be completely honest. I'm not expecting immediate fireworks. I am, expecting him to take a while to bed into the way that the game is played in England, but he does have great promise, and I'm hoping that he can be a really good striker for us in the future. Apparently, Eden Hazard and Thibaut Courtois played a big part in getting him actually to sign for Chelsea. They gave him a glowing reference of the club, etc. And they've been trying, actually, Thibaut Courtois and Eden Hazard to persuade Radjan Angolan to join Chelsea from Roma as well. I think Roma have been turning bids down from Chelsea. I think the last one was around about £30 million that they turned down. But again, you'll have to take my word for that, or let me know in the comment section if I'm slightly mistaken. But there are some big deals that might be going through over the next few days as well. There have been a couple of smaller deals that have gone through recently. recently. I say smaller. James Tompkins has gone to Crystal Palace for £10 million from West Ham, and Leroy Fer has completed a permanent move to Swansea for £5.5 million, I believe, from Norwich. But there haven't, as of the past 24 hours or so, been any other massive deals go through. Manchester United is still very heavily interested in Paul Pogba, as are Real Madrid. Alvaro Morata's future still remains in the balance, with Chelsea and Arsenal trying to get Real Madrid to accept bids for him. But as of yet, nothing else has gone through. So drop the video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel too if you haven't to this point, to ensure you don't miss out on any further content. There will have been a My Player video uploaded earlier on today, as well as the Coppa Italia final in the AC Milan series as well, the penultimate episode of which went up earlier on this afternoon. So there will be a final episode of that tomorrow before we reach the Russia 2018 World Cup with the Italian national side to finish off all of the action in that particular save. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to ensure you don't miss out on any of that. Like I say, My Player and AC Milan went up earlier on this afternoon, so check the channel page for those or anything you may have missed over the past few days. I'm hoping to get a FIFA 17 The Journey video out this weekend if possible, so stay tuned for that too. But for now, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. Follow me on Twitter in the description down below, and there's also a link to my Twitch as well, where I'll be streaming again tonight. But for now, I'll see you next time.